Hello everybody, welcome to our very first edition of Real Estate Today, here with Mr. Ben Craig of Craig and Wheeler Realty and Auction Company here in Shelbyville. Ben, it's good to have you on board at Shelbyville now. We know you've got a lot of things planned and we look forward to seeing how that develops, but there's already been some questions come in.
It's great. Wonderful.
And I want to throw this question to you.
Okay.
And I know you have the perfect answer for it. Okay.
Yeah.
An older couple, well, I'm not going to say old, that's not old anymore, but 63, 64-year-old couple have owned their home for 40 years. It's a 15,000 square foot house. They
1,500.
1,500, excuse me, 1,500.
He briefed me first.
Yeah. Okay, all right, hold on. Let's back up here.
Okay.
1,500 square foot house. They paid $88,000 for it. Now the house is paid for, of course, and they have about $100,000 cash. They want to sell their home if it's the right time. So the question that they're asking is it the right time to sell their home and then do something new?
I wish it was a simple yes or no question, but in this evolving market of what we all know, it's booming and growing. It might be or it might not be. But what I'm looking at is, at their age, if they are wanting to sell, they have an older home at this point. It is a little older. They paid $88,000 for it. It's paid for. What's a 1,500 square foot home going to be worth in this market? Definitely well over $200,000. I would say it could be approaching, even at that square footage, you could be approaching the high 200s. So in this market, okay, you're looking at that capital, that gain. Of course, they've lived in the home longer than 3 years, so they're not going to pay any, or longer than 2 years, they're not going to pay any kind of capital gains to the federal government. So that's a wonderful thing. So if they reap $260,000, then they have a net of another 100. So they have roughly 360 or so to put with it, and going from there. Can they upgrade in home? They might want the same size of home, but can they upgrade to a newer, more efficient home? Efficiency took a big turn in central heat and air units and the way the construction industry runs in Bedford County. Bedford County, we're fortunate that we've got great zoning now. Now some builders might frown at me for saying that, but because they are rigid and they're strict. However, they do meet the codes, the codes, national codes, and that's a benefit. How does that benefit a consumer in this market? Well, their electrical bills, and I've researched this actually with my mom compared to my home that was built in '05 and hers that was built in 1990. Her electrical bills run almost the same as mine. So they'll get an upgrade. If they're going to buy a home, they're going to get an upgrade in central heat and air and a more effective, efficient unit. And I know my central heat and air buddies will like that, but it's true. The many other building aspects have become a lot better. So a more efficient home, that's good on their back pocket too in the long term look. So can they reinvest for 360, 375 in a newer home and still maintaining that square footage? Sure they can. So, and that's the debate you get into. It's not the best time to sell for every individual. Let's be honest. However, if you're a first-time home buyer and you bought a home 5 years ago and you paid $70,000 for it, now you can reap a benefit, get a little bit, maybe a little bit larger home, but you're going to pay a lot more. Then that's a grand benefit to someone that had a husband, wife, first-time home buyer. Now they've got a child and they need just a little bit more space, but newer home and upgrading, and that's the way to do it.
Okay, the other question was, if it is a good time and they decide that they want to pull the trigger and sell their home, what do they need to do to prepare for that? What do they need? How do they need to start?
Sure, and that's always the question. We like to have a meeting on person, on site, to look. Our agents love to get in the home and look. See if there's any cosmetic, mainly structural. Cosmetic, it's a seller's market. The buyers are more flexible now to work with a seller on cosmetic things a simple dent in the wall or a chip here and there, or a missing shutter and gutter, that's okay. Structural, we'll look at that, and we want things done right. Of course, once again, you're not buying a new home,
Right.
But yes, and the seller, and we can get into that on another show. It's a seller's market. The seller has control of how the process is going to work right now.
So the first step would be just call a real estate agent.
Definitely call Craig Willard.
Obviously. and then you guys would meet.
We will have a meeting. We'll go over it and see if, and we always love to pose the question, what do you think your home's worth? When I've done that the last 10 to 15 interviews on a home, every seller has said over 25 to 30% less money that they wanted for their home. And I smiled, and I'm so thankful that they didn't go out and put it for sale by owner.
Right.
The one right here behind our office, they wanted 115 to 120,000. We sold the home for 190,000. If they would have put it for sale by owner at 125, somebody would have gone in there, and I hate to say it, but it is, that they would have taken advantage of them and having more knowledge on the market than the seller has. So be very careful, sellers. Be vigilant. And that's why, FSBO, you got the opportunity to sell it yourself. But in this market, it might be good to trust in somebody, a little faith, pay them a fee, which we're going to, but we're going to reap the reward. Any realtor is going to help you reap a greater reward in this type of market.
Right. Okay. So I guess it would be safe to say that this couple, they have the upper hand because they're selling.
They definitely, and I've explained that to every seller. And it's unfortunate, but the pendulum does swing. And it will go back. Things will change, but I don't see anything in the near future. Near future, 2 years or so. It looks very positive. If you're a seller, you get a lot more flexibility. You don't have to worry about necessarily a rotten window and things like that, or replacing something. A buyer will jump on it in a heartbeat and move on with it.
Okay. So I guess it's safe to say that these people would move forward and probably sell their home quick. The way the market's going, that presents a problem too, because they have to find a place to move. So when you put a deal together, they find a new home that's already built, and they want to close on it at a certain date, and they got theirs sold at a certain date. How does that process? Is it usually like a delayed closing so they can get in and get moved? How does that work?
That's a very good question. We try to make it simultaneous.
Right.
So a lot of times right now, we're not going to put the home immediately on the market. We're going to try to locate a home and then go to the agent. And having a good agent network like we do over almost 50 years here, working with other agents in Middle Tennessee, from Nashville, Murfreesboro, Columbia, we know these people. And they call us and they're coming to, sell this home, and say, hey, man, they got to find one though. Or likewise, hey, we got a buyer on your listing, but here's the deal, they got to sell their home, but I can promise you it's more than likely going to be sold, and this is where we're pricing it. Good agents know what's going on, how the market's really fluid right now, so they'll work together to do it. You'll walk into a closing, you'll sign your selling docs, and then walk into the buyer side, and then all that somehow moves forward at the same time.
So obviously you have your pulse on the market, know what's going on. So what is the average listing time frame now? How long does it take to sell a house on average now?
It could be 3 weeks or less, pending the price range, and some of the higher price ranges are even faster.
Wow.
Interesting. And like the house here behind our office, we had 3 contracts within 72 hours.
Wow. That's impressive. Well, guys, I think that answers the question very well.
But the thing is, I would like to add on that, when you've got 3 contracts on the table, you got to have a good agent to say, hey, now wait a minute, weighing the options of what's the benefits, home inspections versus cash. Of course, cash is king, versus conventional loan versus pass-fail home inspections versus no inspection. So there's many intricacies that still go into every detail that you got to look at. And that's why we try to take each deal is its own entity. It really is.
Yeah.
It's not a set this for any home. It really changes.
Well, this is just one question, and I'm sure we'll have many more coming down the road.
Looking forward to it.
And we appreciate you taking the time to answer this question and get detail about it. So I hope this answers the question. It seems like it does. So I hope this couple figures out exactly what they want to do, and you give Ben a call, and I'm sure he'll be glad to talk to you.
We'll do it.
But thanks again, and we thank you for joining us on our very first edition of Real Estate Today with Ben, and that's Ben Craig at Craig and Willer Realty and Auction here in Shelbyville.
Yep. Share this video for us and get it out there and spread the word.
See you real soon.
Thank you.